Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with The Nation. Why we dropped subsidy removal plan by Buhari. Wike's temperament denied him VP slot, says ex-governor. Lagos condemns illegal excavation of wetlands in Magodo Estate. Petrol scarcity worsens. Justice's memo, CJN defends Supreme Court integrity. President orders security chiefs to rescue train attack victims now. Ikimi, Fayose clash over PDP's loss in Ekiti. And Adegore Umana, 5 others tipped as ministers. And Sanwo-Olu heads 86-man Osun Election Council. Okay, which story starting with The Nation, BC?
Yes, security chiefs got fresh orders from the President Muhammadu Buhari, and he was saying that they should spare no effort in freeing the remaining hostages of the Abuja-Kaduna train that happened March 28. So he also directed the service chiefs that they should use kinetic and non-kinetic efforts to secure the freedom of these victims. And this admonition, let me call it an admonition, came after Malam Tuku, who has been the negotiator between, would I call them the bandits now, and the federal government. And he was raising alarm concerning the health of those people in captivity, saying that most of them are living in very poor conditions. They have a lot of snake bites, and this has worsened their health. And I think about 11 of them were also released after they came into conclusion with the bandits saying that they needed their own children to be released. So they released 11, and the family members of these 11 people that were released are saying that these people are not really feeling good. And so the government needs to do more in taking care of the people, especially concerning their physical and mental health. And so he's asking security chiefs that they need to do more. Nobody should relax since we are, getting ahead and releasing them little by little. Hopefully we'll be able to release everybody. All
right, let me take it. The Lagos State government has condemned the indiscriminate excavation of Magodo wetlands by the Onikosi family, saying that it is provocative and contrary to the civic engagement the government has tried to have with them. According to them, they've agreed with the family that they're going to come up with the Magodo Scheme 3 between the Scheme 1 and Scheme 2 and Omole Estates. The family, but unfortunately, the family, according to the report, stooped so low by taking the laws into their own hands, by getting in excavators to begin to pull out the land.
So that was illegal?
That was illegal, according to the reports. This was the Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development, Dr. Idris Salaka, was there. Yes, he visited the place yesterday, and he was quite distraught at the fact that the family of Onikosi took laws into their own hands, especially because the government has tried to engage them on several occasions. Interestingly, they spoke to one of the victims and said because his building is almost being tilted because of this excavation, Mr. Bolaji Omotosho, a resident of Magodo Phase 2, saying that the extent of the damage of the property occasioned by the excavation is really, really damaging, and he's really worried that to affect. The picture is there.
They dug
into his foundation of his building. He's saying that, listen, we've already agreed that we're coming together in Phase 3, coming up with a scheme that is being put together, that this is totally illegal.
Right. Because I don't know, because I complained about monkeys.
Yes.
All the monkeys not anywhere to live again.
I saw a monkey and his child running for like safety. She was carrying her baby and she was running, and I was like, what's going on here?
All the wetlands, the natural habitat, all gone. And it wasn't, and I can't believe it was done illegally, because it was consistent over a long period of time. They should have known that they should have known.
They're still there.
Let me take an explanation from the former governor of Niger State, Babangida Aliyu, was speaking. He's a member of PDP, and he was trying to address why Atiku didn't pick Governor Wike as his vice president. And he said that it's not, I like when he said everybody doesn't have to speak their mind. And I know that he said, I don't know whether it's his temperament, but sometimes when you speak too much and you insult your way to power, this does not always happen.
Yeah.
So I can count how many people he has insulted. People say he's always speaking his mind, but sometimes you don't need to speak your mind. Then he spoke about, on Peter Obi, he said, Peter Obi is his friend, a former member of the Governors Forum. He will make a good show, but he does not have any chance. He doesn't have any chance in this 2023. It's too early. That he should wait for like 2027 or 2031. You know, the way some people just analyze these things, like, you don't have a choice.
And the more they say that, the more anger Nigerian youth might get. And say, you know what, we're going to show you that it can be a terror. This is Nigeria, you never know. So maybe just calm down, go to your room and strategize. And stop making all these unnecessary utterances. Let's move on quickly to the punch. Fuel scarcity worsens, black market booms at 300 naira to the litre. Picture here of NYC core members swearing in the warns against fake news. That's what NYC. Council fumes probe states for sacking 9,392 teachers. BRT driver flees as crushed mother dies, daughter hospitalized. Pipeline vandalism, IPOB dismisses allegation as Buhari blames group. Electoral Act, reps move to override Buhari's veto stalled. Ogun Court remands 5 more suspected monarchs killers. Presidential poll, Atiku raises team to woo Wike, Rivers governor's camp is adamant. Body of benches raises peace panel as Supreme Court justice fights CJN. And Buhari nominates 7 ministers, 3 APC senators dump party. Okay, I wanted to start with the Atiku Abubakar. And the reason why I wanted to start with him was because you took that story. So he has raised a committee to go visit to go and woo the Rivers State Governor, Nyesom Wike, and other aggrieved members. And this was aggravated by the recent resignation of Orubebe. That's the former Minister of Niger Delta, who also resigned. There was one other person that also resigned from the party. I think is Kazim Afegwa and others. So there was a mass exodus from PDP following the fact that he picked Okowa, the Governor Okowa, as his vice president. So there's a huge disconnect within PDP. So Atiku has put together a committee to try to kind of woo the side to bring them back into the fold. However, from Wike's camp, the chieftain within PDP was saying that, what are they? On one hand, they're saying Wike talks too much, that he's too troublesome. On the other hand, they want to do reconciliation, that listen, you can't be talking with 2 sides of your mouth. And when you needed help, you knew where to get the help. Now that you need Wike's help, you're not coming to reconcile. And there's no reconciliation here. That they should go and meet. If you want to speak to anybody, he should directly go and talk to Wike himself, not go and send a committee to him.
I think that's the respectful thing.
Yeah, he should go and talk to Wike himself.
Please.
Okay, so a BRT driver has crushed a woman, Reini Akabo, to death at Union Road, Dopemu, in the Agege area of Lagos. So the woman had her 1-year-old daughter. They were trying to cross the road, and then this BRT on top speed just hit. So when the accident happened, passerbys had to get water. They were trying to resuscitate the woman by pouring water on her. But before they could take her to the hospital, they said she had died. Now, the husband accused the lawsuit, saying that by the time he got there, the wife was in the cab for over 1 hour before the doctors attended to her. But the management of lawsuit said that, of course, when you come in, they must give you that first aid before any other thing. And they took the child, because the child was still alive, that they brought the woman dead already, so there was nothing they could do for her. But they took the child in, and the little baby is recuperating as we speak. The driver is at large. I think they had picked him up, took him to the police station, but then nobody came to report the incident, and so the police released him with a shorty. But now that once they get any form of report on the accident, they will hold the shorty to bring back the driver, and then prosecution can start.
I think Dopemu has pedestrian bridge. People should learn to use pedestrian bridges, honestly.
Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with the review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. Yes, talk about the story.
Yes, I want to take the story from the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria. They confirmed that no fewer than 9,392 teachers were sacked between January 2020 and June 2022. According to the analysis, different states sacked different teachers for different reasons, highlighting some of who they have issues with. Recently, Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai reportedly sacked over 2,000 teachers. According to the state government, the teachers were sacked because they failed competency tests. Right. In August 2020, Abia State Governor Ikeja sacked 5,666 teachers, also because they were, in this case, because they were illegally recruited. October 2020, Plateau State sacked 122 teachers after discovering they presented fake certificates. June 2022, Kaduna State Governor again sacked 2,357 teachers. So the complaint is they've carried out evaluation, and the state government has said they will regularize the employment of the teachers. But the spokesperson was saying we need teachers. And when you do competency test and sack them, we are not appropriately dealing with the situation on ground. He said this affected the PTA teachers who were converted to school system in the last day of administration. The issues are a whole lot, but we have educational challenges, and the registration TCRN were complaining about the way governors are dealing with teachers in order to rehabilitate the educational sector. Isn't the right approach? Just sacking them is not the real solution. Maybe there should be other platforms to upgrade them.
Because we need teachers, actually. We do need to. So maybe they can train them. Let's move on to the Daily Sun. Let's move on.
I wanted to take a story.
Oh, in Punch?
Yes, the major headline. So, fuel scarcity is worsening across the country. We see the queues as we come to work, and a lot of motorists are spending hours in the filling station just trying to get fuel. But the oil marketers are saying that the solution to the worsening fuel queues across the country is for the federal government to approve an increase in the pump price of the commodity. They said 165 naira per litre no longer serves them. That initially they were buying diesel for 250 per litre, and now it's moved to 850, and that is they're using the diesel to convey the fuel into the filling stations, and so it's not going to serve them. A few of the filling stations have been selling for over 195, but they're saying that it's illegal and they may be sanctioned for that. They just need the federal government to give them a free hand to sell pending when the diesel comes down.
Moving on now to Daily Sun. Buhari opens up on Emefiele's ambition. Worsening poverty may lead to revolution, warns Archbishop Chukwuma. Alleged incompetence, CJN wants Supreme Court Justice cautions against dancing naked in public. Fuel scarcity, petrol ex-depot price hits 161 naira to a litre. INEC shuns court order on voter registration. Ekiti Election Peace Committee asks security agencies to prosecute perpetrators of vote buying. And NPAN, NJ, and UJ, other stakeholders, insist on self-regulatory framework. Okay, which story are we starting with here?
INEC is saying that they are not going back on its June 30 deadline for registration of voters. So the INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner for Abuja, Yahaya Bello, spoke during a continuous voter registration campaign organized in INEC in conjunction with the European Union in Abuja yesterday. And he was saying that ending the registration June 30 will help them commence the process of printing the PVC so that the owners can collect, and they'll be collecting till early January next year. And they said they have more than 50 registration machines and 150 staff which have been deployed for the exercise, explaining that they can't do those concurrently. So the registration needs to end so that they can clean up the place. And they also said that one of the reasons they're having this interaction in support with the European Union is that they need a lot of youths to come out and participate. So the number that we have for people who register finally for voting, it does not commensurate to the number of people on the streets on the day of the elections to vote, and they need more youths to participate.
All right, so there's this ongoing debate about media regulation, how the government is trying to see what they can do to gag the media. So there's a continuous debate on this. However, the major media stakeholders within the country, we have the NGA, the Nigerian Guild of Editors, we have the NPAN, the Newspapers Proprietors Association of Nigeria, the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Media Rights Agenda, and others had a meeting recently that was supported by the United States government. At that meeting, they had a discussion and they agreed. There was a communique released to say that they must pursue a self-regulatory framework to ensure improved standard within the media. And when they say self-regulation, they are the stakeholders that should review the guidelines within the media space, because we don't want the interference of the government in media. However, we must self-regulate because there's a lot of abuse within the media space, both on social media, print media, and even electronic media. So only the media stakeholders can regulate, and that's why I say that this communique has come out to say that they have to look for a framework within them to regulate the sector.
So, quick political update. Remember that all our politicians that were ministers that had to contest for political position had to resign. And now the president has submitted 7 new ministers, submitted names of 7 new people to become ministers, and they include Henry Ikechukwu from Abia State, Umana Akwa Ibom, Ekuma Joseph from Ebonyi State, Goodluck Obia from Imo State, Umar Yakub, Kano State, Ademola Adegorioye from Ondo State, and Udi Odo from Rivers State. However, there are some that are a bit controversial, like those who had resigned because they were contesting but chickened out, according to the way it was reported in the papers that they chickened out, like Chris Agege, Pauline Talen, and Chimipriye Silva. Would they be replaced because they resigned according to the law, or would they be given back the position since they didn't go ahead with the competition? 3 APC members also defected from the Senate. 3 senators, APC senators, defected.
Really?
Yes. Issa from PDP to PDP. 3 APC senators defected to PDP, saying that there were internal crises within their states. One of them said, I'm a small boy in my state, and the bigger political structure will not let me be. There is no difference, you know.
Okay, moving on quickly to Vanguard. Forests across Nigeria taken over by terrorists, says Akeredolu. Buhari defends Emefele's economic policies. Alleged homicide, Peter Nwachukwu beats Osinachi with mop stick, calls her thief and Ashau. Defection. Oyo Deputy Governor's Office moved to Ministry of Environment. No going back on Yoruba Nation, says Sunday Igboho. PDP, Ondo government trade wars over our massacre. Nigeria quakes under weight of energy crisis. Designate IPOB as terror group, Buhari urges Western allies. Okay, which story are we taking in the Vanguard?
Yeah, the trial of Peter Nwachukwu, husband of the late gospel singer Osinachi Nwachukwu, continued yesterday before Justice Njideka Nwosuiheme of the Federal Capital Territory High Court, Abuja. And the twin sister was asked to testify, and then she went ahead to say that Osinachi's husband had been beating her up. In fact, that sometimes Osinachi will call her and tell her that the husband beats her with the mop stick. And there was a particular time she went for ministration. By the time she got back, she was given honorarium of about 40,000. She kept it in her purse. When the husband saw it, the husband started calling her a thief and a prostitute and beat her, kept beating her. And every time she tried to come, you know, even when the sister was sick and she was in the hospital, the husband did not allow her to come and look after the sister, that she was really, really maltreated in that marriage. And the story was just a very long one, and then the case has been adjourned to, I think, July 15th. All right, so the chief... Let me let you go ahead, Tokwe.
The story is around the fact that the president, speaking to Bloomberg, has asked that the Western allies should designate IPOB, which is the Indigenous People of Biafra, a terrorist group. If you remember, the Nigerian government under Buhari in 2017 already designated them as a terrorist group, proscribing them as a terrorist group, and now they are asking the Western allies to do the same thing. However, I read in the write-up that the president spoke that they found out, uncovered plans by some compromised politicians in the southeast, in conjunction with their equally compromised security agents, to murder politicians and businessmen and women and put the blame on the group, which is something the group has also said that many of the things people say they did, they didn't do. The president mentioned that the group is probably also involved in criminality and terrorism in oil-producing region, which is part of why we cannot produce to capacity crude oil, and that a lot of infrastructural damages to the pipeline, that IPOB as a terrorist group is complicit in those issues as well. Anyway, listing a lot of things they feel IPOB has done, and they said they have invested in security forces about $1 billion to deal with the issues and acquire assets from the U.S. to fight the challenges, but they would like the help of the Western allies to also prescribe them as all right, let me move to the story of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Ibrahim Tanko Mohammed, has cautioned the Justice of the Supreme Court that don't dance naked in the market square. If you recall, there was a letter that the Supreme Court just had written to the CGN concerning their welfare, infrastructure development. There were quite a few things they mentioned that, listen, you are not taking good care of us in a nutshell. You know, and the CGN had responded saying that, listen, you can't work outside the economic realities of our country. That, yes, certain budgets have been allocated. And in fact, I remember he said that they had a budget, but they didn't have, the budget wasn't funded sometimes. And the budget, according to him also, the budget for the infrastructure development was funded, but the issue of welfare is the real core. Yes, that wasn't funded. The current isn't funded. But either way, he was saying that they should keep their issues within them, that coming to the papers or bringing it to the media
is not the right way to do it, because judges should be seen and not heard. So it was wrong for them to bring this out.
Hungry, they should
but
continue
were in their house.
But the truth is that they are hungry, they must speak out.
Exactly. You know? They re-roofed building, but they have been complaining.
They
but
never
you awarded contract to re-roof the building, it was done.
But the money was allocated for that. Anyway,
should be done
moving on
right,
quickly, because the justice, that's the last
Two
hope.
of them died.
That's our last
So
hope.
people
You need to ensure the judges are well taken care of, period. Moving on to the Nigerian Tribune. Excuse me. Subsidy removal untenable, Buhari tells IMF and World Bank. Monkeypox cases rise to 41, one death recorded. Ekiti free, fair candidates should accept outcome, says observer groups. Housemate sentenced to death by hanging for killing the Benedian's mother. Supreme Court breaks silence on Justice's petition against CJN. Electoral amendment bill to override Buhari step down. And Buhari sends names of Umana, Agege, 5 others to Senate for ministerial nominees. Okay.
Because of time, let me just take one. So the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has stated that 41 confirmed cases of the monkeypox disease has been recorded since the beginning of the year. It says that as of June 19, among the 41 cases reported, there have been no evidence of any new or unusual transmission of the virus, such as spreading among the men who have sex with men group challenges or changes in its clinical manifestation documented in Nigeria. So what they are saying, in essence, is they're trying as much as possible to advise the media not to handle this matter as they did during COVID-19, saying that globally, the spread of monkeypox is increasing, and so we should not panic and magnify it in Nigeria. It's just 41 cases they've had so far, and only one death. So we should be very careful in how we, spread the matter of monkeypox. But in all, we should just be careful.
So I've been very interested in the subsidy story. So I was really interested in President's interview at Bloomberg, where he was talking about the fact that they cannot remove subsidy. He reminded us that they did try to remove subsidy last year. But unfortunately, according to him, he says that removing subsidy looks good on paper, but the human consequences cannot be ignored. According to him, he said that the only way we can actually remove subsidy is when we locally produce and refine our own crude, which is what he's trying to get with Dangote refineries. And according to him also, he said that once we step about domestic production, both in fuel and other sectors, it will help unification. So at least I would think this interview somewhat to me has answered the question of this issue of subsidy that, according to the president, we're not removing subsidy.
Until after election. The new administration will deal with the issue.
With the issue. That's the notion.
That was even Jonathan did it that time, so that the next one when they came,
anyways,
they will come and fix it.
But if Dangote refinery starts, maybe.
This is our salvation. Jesus is coming. Dangote refinery.
Auntie, let us accept
He will not sell at a loss. Let us be prepared.
But there are other ones. There are other refineries apart from Dangote.
Yes, I heard so. That's all we can take on front page review.
Businessman.
When we come back, it's Wednesday. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.